This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Eaze, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. When you shop for delivery over at eaze.com, spelled E-A-Z-E, you can rest assured that you're not only getting top quality legal marijuana products at great prices, but also doing business with a company that goes above and beyond the call of duty to stay in compliance with all applicable state cannabis laws. That translates to a better experience and product for you, their customer consumer. Find out how easy it can be to get California legal marijuana delivered to you, should you happen to live in one of Eaze's active areas, by opening up eaze.com. And don't forget, eaze.com is also a great place to go to find all of the industry insight and analysis that the Eaze team has put together using their properly aggregated and anonymized sales data stream. That's eaze.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, June 13th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 510 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is some great news out of Washington, D.C., where yesterday the U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee included in a spending bill for the first time ever language protecting state legal marijuana from federal persecution. The bill will stand for a committee vote tomorrow. The language protecting state legal cannabis mirrors the well-known RohrabacherBlumenau Amendment, which we talk a lot about here on Marijuana Today Daily, and that's been taken up every year by U.S. House lawmakers as an annual spending bill attachment. You can pop over to Cannabis Business Times for more details on this one, and I'm sure that we'll be revisiting the storyline after tomorrow's committee vote. With July 1st just a little over 2 weeks away, Marijuana Business Daily is a good comprehensive write-up covering some of the changes that will take place within California's legal marijuana market as a 6-month grace period ends for helping the industry transition into tougher new processing, testing, packaging, and labeling standards. The July 1st pivot point could also produce noticeable disruptions for consumers in California's legal marijuana market caused by limited supply of compliant cannabis. While companies have had a long time to prepare for the transition, the high costs of coming into compliance and the extra work required will likely leave some smaller and less diligent companies behind. Another good one to read in full and an issue you should have a good handle on. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at MJ Today Daily. Wrapping up today's top headlines is an exclusive piece over New Cannabis Ventures detailing the ongoing financial woes of High Times Holdings, the parent company of High Times Magazine and the High Times Cannabis Cup series. As Alan has it, the company's latest financial filing report shows cratering revenues pushing up massive losses. According to a form just filed with the SEC, High Times Holdings says its sales in the latest fiscal quarter were just under $1.5 million, down 65% from the previous quarter. High Times has been buffeted by a weakening overall market for print journalism and has had a couple of major licensing snafus hit their Cannabis Cup series, depressing both ticket sales as well as its overall brand. High Times Holdings continues to work on a plan to take itself public on the NASDAQ market. New Cannabis Ventures has all the numbers and details. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Eaze, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. If you need to know if your part of California is allowing for legal marijuana delivery, you just need to pop open eaze.com to find out, because they've baked the entire state's set of various rules and regulations for legal cannabis delivery right into their system. They hugely value compliance as a company, which means you get to benefit from better quality control over less stringent and less licensed operations. Don't trust your legal marijuana delivery dollars to any company but the best, most in compliance. In California, that choice is easy. You just open up eaze.com, spelled E-A-Z-E. And if you're lucky enough to live where they're allowed to do business and are active, start picking out your products to be delivered. And while you're waiting for your delivery, you can fire back up eaze.com and read all the useful and valuable bits of industry insight and analysis they've put together using their massive, properly aggregated and anonymized sales data stream. That's eaze.com. All right, time for the blitz. Tom Angel over at Forbes has some good news out of South Carolina, where yesterday Democratic voters overwhelmingly supported a non-binding resolution asking if they want state lawmakers to legalize medical marijuana. Tom's story has the medical marijuana measure passing with 81% of the vote against 19 opposed, with 93% of precincts reporting in. The resolution will certainly help add to the momentum of medical marijuana reform in South Carolina, where a January poll found overall support at 60% plus. As Vermont prepares to roll out a limited adult use legalization system, the number of registered medical marijuana patients in that state seems to have found a level. According to the Burlington Free Press, there are just 6,000 or so registered medical marijuana patients in the state, a number that's held steady in recent months. There's concern among Vermont industry watchers that the implementation of adult use legalization could further hit marijuana dispensary sales as medical patients just opt into the adult use system, although there will be no adult use sales allowed in Vermont initially. Yesterday, Michigan's medical marijuana regulators released a set of terms that state medical marijuana dispensaries will no longer be able to use when talking about themselves, including the word dispensary. From now on, dispensaries in Michigan will be officially known as provisioning centers. Also on the list of banned terms is pharmacy, apothecary, drugstore, and prescription. Swing over to High Times to find a link to the full list of words. Another big announced change by the state is the fact that Michigan plans to misspell marijuana with an H instead of a J. Because. Another headline from New Cannabis Ventures with news of a $115 million Canadian deal by Aurora Cannabis, who will pay that amount to acquire Anandia Laboratories, a marijuana testing and analytical company with a number of cannabis gene-related pending patents and general IP holdings. Aurora will also take possession of large testing labs built and operated by Anandia. Keeping our feet planted firmly on that sweet, sweet Canadian soil for one more headline, we have news that Health Canada is proposing a marijuana business licensing scheme that will create a number of new operating types, including small-scale cultivation and processing. There are hemp-specific license types on the proposed list, as well as those for nursery companies specializing in raising starter clones from seeds. Not a bad story to open up in full, even if you're not specifically involved in the Canadian market. Rolling Stone has a must-read article looking at the current state of cannabis genome sequencing technology. This is the scientific answer to that whole sativa versus indica thing, as well as whether a certain kind of marijuana is sour diesel or purple haze or skunkleberry cough kush number 7. We had a recent headline about a study finding that when it comes to how cannabis is actually marketed, all of those strain names are effectively meaningless. Open up Rolling Stone's piece to get a better handle on how science is actually approaching the question of how different marijuana strains create different effects in consumers and how that search is playing out in the world of cannabis business. And finally for today, the Washington Post dips down to the South American nation of Uruguay, which took the bold step of legalizing medical marijuana last year, but that struggled to roll out a working distribution system. Uruguay patients can legally buy their medicine in pharmacies, but a lack of participating shops has left some people scrambling for regular supply. One last story that I'd open up to read today. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.